Yo, my guy, there is no such thing as a real man. Okay. And you sound really stupid using this language. And I know that statement just pissed off half the people watching this video. Good. Because your entire life, you've been told what a real man does. Real men don't cry. Real men provide. Real men take charge. Real men do this. Real men don't do that. And you've been trying to live up to these standards your entire life and your entire marriage. Here's what I'm going to show you in this video. Why that phrase is complete bullshit and how it's been used to manipulate you into living someone else's life, and what actually happens when you stop chasing someone else's definition of masculinity and start operating from your standards. Every time someone says a real man does X, what they're actually saying is, shame on you for not behaving how I think you should. And I know that sounds harsh. Good. You should be questioning this, because for the last however many years, other men, women, therapists, and society have been telling you what a real man does in his marriage. Be more vulnerable, communicate more, do more chores, be more present, man up, provide more, lead better. How is that advice working for you? Maybe, just maybe, you've been chasing a fictional standard that was never designed to get you what you actually want. Look, bro, you're a high caliber guy. You're putting in maybe $200,000 a year or more. You've built a successful career. You're in decent shape. You provide an incredible life for your family. Your marriage isn't broken. It's okay. It's solid. But here's what you're missing. Your wife gives you blowjobs maybe 3 to 4 times a year. Birthday, anniversary, if you're lucky. And when she does, it's out of obligation, like she's doing you a favor. You're always the one initiating, always pursuing, always wondering if tonight's the night. Deep down, you know something's off. You remember those first few years where she couldn't keep her hands off you, when she wanted to please you, when blowjobs weren't this rare gift, they were just how she expressed her desire for you. And you've accepted this is just how marriage is after kids. And you're living in a mediocre marriage. 99% of you guys are. My name is AD the Kingmaker, and I help high caliber husbands optimize their marriage for respect and desire using my proven framework backed by science, without begging, doing more chores around the house, or feeling emasculated along the way. I'll show you how to get her jumping on her drawers the same way she did during the honeymoon phase. One of the tangible results we help you achieve is getting your wife to come to you on a weekly basis, offering enthusiastic blowjobs. If that's something you're interested in, then subscribe to my page for more content like this. By the way, new episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Central. So again, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of this heat. And I'm giving out some of the best game on the internet, hands down, if I do say so myself. So maybe you're thinking you need to be more of a real man to get the passion back. Maybe you've been told that real men lead their wives with strength and confidence. Maybe someone said real men don't complain about their sex life, they just handle it. Maybe you heard that real men make their wives feel safe and protected, and that's what creates desire. Maybe you think if you just embody this real man energy better, she'll finally want you the way she used to. So you've been trying to be a stronger leader, trying to be a better provider, trying to be a better protector, trying to fit into this mold of what you think a real man should be in his marriage. And it's exhausting, because no matter how hard you try to live up to this standard, nothing changes. She still doesn't initiate. She still rarely gives you head. The passion you're trying to create by being a real man just isn't there. And here's the truth you haven't considered yet. You're chasing a phantom. The phrase real man is one of the most manipulative phrases in the English language, and I've heard it my entire life. Man up, be a real man. Real men don't cry. A real man takes care of his woman. It's typically used by one man to shame another man into behaving differently. And I'm here to tell you, this is the stupidest shit ever. Here's the biological reality. You ready? If you were born with a dick and balls, you are a real man. That's it. That's the definition. You have an X and Y chromosome. Congratulations. You're a man, a real one. Okay. I feel absolutely fucking ridiculous even having to make a video breaking down such a simplistic concept. But apparently this needs to be said out loud. But people love to throw the word real in front of man as if it's creating some separate elevated category, as if there are men and then there are real men. Let me show you how stupid this logic is in another example. Let's say your son goes to a high school. He's a senior, 12th grade, and this school is a magnet school, gifted and talented, excellent academics, but it doesn't have a sports team. Now imagine your buddy looks at you and says, well, real high schools have sports teams and your son's not at a real high school. Does that make any sense? Is that school somehow fictional because there's no football team? Is it any less of a high school because they don't have a basketball team? No, it's still a real high school. It just doesn't match your buddy's arbitrary definition. Another example, let's just say you bought your first home as a young person out of college and you're making $70,000 a year. You get a 1-bed, 1-bath house. Then you talk to someone who's been owning a home for 30 years and they say a real home was one with at least 2 beds and 3 baths. That's not a real home, but you still live in a real home, don't you? People like to throw the word real in front of something and act as if it changes the fundamental nature of the thing, and it doesn't. This shit is stupid. Here's what's actually happening. When someone says a real man does X, what they're actually saying is, I need you to do X so that I feel better about my choices. I need you to behave this way so I don't have to question my behavior. I need you to conform so I feel validated. It's an ego trip. It's a control mechanism, and it's a shaming tactic. And you've been falling for it your entire fucking life, okay? You know where I see this a lot? Women. Women love to use real man language to manipulate men into doing what they want. A real man pays all the bills. A real man opens doors. A real man walks on the outside of the sidewalk to protect his woman, as if real men don't value their lives. No, fuck you. I'll walk on the sidewalk where I want to walk on the sidewalk. Again, you're a real man as long as you're born with a dick and balls. Now, you might not be an honorable man. You might not be a courageous man. You might not be a respectable, considerate, kind, or a thoughtful man. But my good sir, you are still a man. Special note, I wouldn't be me if I didn't say this. Might get me in trouble. I don't give a fuck. One group that does not fall into this real man is trans men. Those are not men. Those are chicks with dicks, okay? Those are women who are presenting themselves as male to the world. And that's quite all right with me. You dress and present yourself however the hell you desire to. I don't care. Live your life. But that's not a real man. So here's the actual problem. What's been happening in your marriage? You've been trying to live up to someone else's definition of what a real man does. Society's definition, your father's definition, other men's definitions, your wife's definition. And in doing so, you've abandoned your standards. You've been so busy trying to be what everyone else says a real man should be that you forgot to ask, what do I actually want? What are my standards? What does my best life look like? And that's why your marriage is mediocre at best, okay? Like, it's not terrible, but it's also not outstanding. You have terrible marriages, you have mediocre or average marriages, and then you have outstanding. Most of you guys are in mediocre marriages. You know how I know? Because she's not offering you blowjobs. Okay, that's just the litmus test. And one clear indicator her affection and respect are low, she stops wanting to give you blowjobs. But AD, aren't we supposed to have standards for masculinity? No. I don't use the word supposed to because it implies that someone gets to dictate how you live your life. That's not their jurisdiction. It's not my jurisdiction either. I genuinely believe your life as a man is maximized by doing what you want, when you want, how you want, with who you want, with little regard for what other people think about you. This is how I live my life. So who the fuck am I to tell you how you should live yours? Forget standards for masculinity. Have standards for yourself. And here's the cool thing. Everybody already has standards. If you're confused about what your standards are, look at your life. Look at your lifestyle. Those are your standards. But doesn't that mean there's no difference between a coward and a warrior? Yes and no. A warrior is just a coward who felt the fear and did it anyway. But here's what you need to understand. Both coward and warrior are labels, and no one chooses your label but you. If you joined the military and fought in one war, does that make you a warrior for life? If you were bullied in middle school and ran away once, does that make you a coward forever? We're all humans, bro. We all have moments where we think, man, I really could have done better there. You can be a coward in certain situations and a warrior in others. I consider myself to be a man who is emotionally courageous. There is no emotion I'm afraid to feel, but I'm a complete coward when it comes to extreme sports. I don't want to break a bone. I'm 30-something years strong, and I haven't broken one yet. Skateboarding looks cool, but the potential to fall and break my arm, not worth it to me. You can call me a coward all you want. I don't care. Am I a coward or am I smart? I don't know. You decide. Either way, I don't give a fuck what you think. So are you just saying everything is fine? There's no standards. Just do whatever you want. One of my core values is being understanding. The opposite of understanding is being judgmental. And in my experience, you build relationships faster and more genuinely when you're non-judgmental. Judgment typically brings shame, and shame ruins you and your marriage. I love myself. I don't shame myself. I don't judge myself. Therefore, I don't judge others. Now, that doesn't mean I don't make jokes. I absolutely will roast a guy who's 400 some pounds and hasn't had a blowjob in 2 years. I'll say something that rattles him, pisses him off. But if he feels upset about it, that's his problem, not mine. Here's the reality. Most people's standards are mediocrity. This is why the average person is average. Mediocrity isn't below average. Mediocrity is the average. And that's why I created this channel. So some men can move from mediocre marriages where they're barely getting blowjobs to outstanding marriages where they get blowjobs consistently, weekly, enthusiastically, sloppy, welcome home daddy blowjobs. God damn it. Most men don't get those because they're mediocre husbands, mediocre leaders, and they've settled for it. This channel is not for them. This channel is for men who want outstanding relationships. First with themselves, then with their women, then with their children, then with their community. So if you want to settle for mediocrity, go for it. But you're probably going to hate my channel, and that's okay. So here's what actually works. Stop chasing someone else's definition of a real man. Start operating by your standards. Step 1, decide what you actually want. Not what your wife wants, not what society says you should want, not what other men tell you what a real man wants. What do you want? Do you want weekly enthusiastic blowjobs? Say it. Do you want a wife who initiates sex and pursues you? Admit it. Do you want to feel genuinely desired instead of tolerated? Own it. Most men won't even let themselves want what they actually want because they're afraid it's not what a real man should want. Fuck that. Step 2, identify your values. Here's a practical exercise. Make a list of 5 men who you admire and respect. For each of those 5 men, ask, what is it specifically about this man that I admire and respect? What you'll learn is what you value. Maybe it's courage, maybe it's independence, maybe it's leadership, maybe it's adventure. Now that you know what you value, you need to put systems in place to cultivate those values in yourself and in your relationship. Step 3, stop seeking approval from other men. Here's a real life example. You're at a dinner with your wife and another couple. The other husband says a real man doesn't let his wife work. He provides for everything. Or real men would never take their wife's last name. That's disrespectful to masculinity. You don't need to respond at all. You can simply acknowledge that's his opinion. I don't necessarily have to agree or disagree. He just shared his opinion. But if you go home and try to change your marriage based on another man's standards, you're now seeking his approval, whether you realize it or not. Step 4, take advice only from men who have the outcome that you want. If I'm trying to get my net worth to $100 million, I'm not asking someone who has a net worth below 100,000 for advice. If I'm trying to get in shape, I'm not asking someone who's bigger than me where to start. If you're trying to get weekly enthusiastic blowjobs, don't take advice from men who aren't getting them either. Step 5, create your systems, mindsets, and beliefs. At the end of the day, it is your responsibility to decide what you want and then create the systems to get it. Not live according to someone else's blueprint, your blueprint. When you keep her sexual desire and respect for you high, everything gets easier, including her enthusiastically wanting to please you. So what changes when you stop chasing real man and start operating from your own standards? What changes in your behavior? You stop seeking approval from other men about how to run your marriage. You stop second guessing your decisions because they don't match some fictional standard. You become outcome independent. You do what you want because you want it, not because someone makes you a real man. You stop being exhausted trying to live up to everyone else's expectations. You start making decisions confidently, quickly, and without apology. You reclaim your energy because you're no longer performing for an imaginary audience. Now, here's what changes in her behavior when you implement this. She stops seeing you as someone who's trying to prove something. She starts seeing you as a man who knows who he is and doesn't apologize for it. That's attractive. That's magnetic. When you stop living for approval, you become polarizing, and polarizing is sexy. She starts respecting your decisions more because you're making them from your frame, not borrowed frameworks. She initiates more because you're no longer chasing validation. You're living in your own reality, and she wants to be a part of it. The sexual dynamic shifts because you're no longer performing masculinity. You're embodying your version of it. And when her desire and respect for you are high, she pursues you sexually, including offering enthusiastic blowjobs weekly. That version, it's the one that gets her jumping on her drawers every day. But if you don't do this, if you keep chasing someone else's definition of a real man, here's what happens. You'll spend the next 20 years exhausted trying to live up to standards you didn't even choose. You'll keep getting blowjobs 3 to 4 times a year that feel like she's doing you a favor while wondering why nothing you do works. You'll watch other men who aren't as successful as you, men who don't provide as much as you, get more passion, more respect, and more desire from their wives. And you'll never understand why. Because you were too busy trying to be a real man instead of being your fucking self. You'll reach 60, 65, 70 years old and realize you spent decades living someone else's life and you'll never get those years back. So if you're tired of chasing someone else's definition of masculinity and ready to build a marriage based on your standards, click the link in the bio to get access to my blueprint, How to Stop Your Wife's Bad Behavior Once and for All. Or if you want the opportunity to work with me one-on-one or my team, go to the 30dayfix.net. Just a heads up, my services are not cheap or affordable. I run a luxury boutique service and only work with husbands who earn a minimum of $150,000 a year. We're the best at what we do and have a 100% success rate. Stop trying to be a real man. Start being yourself and watch what happens. If this clicked for you, do me a favor, bro. Think of one guy who you know who's stuck in the same place you were just a few minutes ago. Send him this video. No explanation needed. One video can change everything. You just watched it happen. Peace. Yo, my guy, if you found that video valuable, then you're not done, bro. Keep learning, keep growing, never stop. I want you to click on one of these videos over here. If you're not to the point where you're getting blowjobs weekly from your wife, you're not done. Keep watching. Click one of these. Thank me later.